the beginning. You have watched others suffer. Now it is your turn to play. Game over.
And we do this every horror month. We review horror films all month long. And now we finally came to the last of the Saw franchise with Saw, the final chapter. Or Saw 3D. Or Saw 7. Or whatever the Saw you want to call it.
Yeah, and I remember when this first came out in the movie theaters, and I was like, oh, 3D, here we go. This is going to be awesome. It's going to be traps up in my face. It's going to be cool. And then I went to go see it.
And you know what? I actually thought the same exact thing. I thought, okay, well, this is going to be in 3D. That ought to be really interesting to watch one of these films in 3D.
That's Vince trying to FaceTime with my ceiling.
I want to play a game. Game over.
Crap. Anyway. So, Saw 3D was actually the very first Saw film I actually saw in the theaters and in 3D. And I have to say, it was a really good 3D film. As far as the 3D was concerned, it was actually pretty cool.
So the beginning of this film starts out stupid. I mean, usually the traps are pretty interesting and okay, Vince, explain this to me. How can Jigsaw set up an entire, like, gigantic fish tank in the middle of, like, a park or wherever this was, do all these elaborate traps, put all this stuff together overnight, get these people, put them in the traps, start the trap, and then have it come on without the police being notified or anybody knowing that it's there, and then all of a sudden these people wake up and they're like, oh, wait a minute, there's a big trap in the middle of the street here we didn't see the entire night.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I found it, when I watched it, I thought, okay, that's interesting, but I'm sure these people have something to do with those other two stories, so there's got to be a reason that this box got there somehow, and maybe it was in an unrated version, or no, it's just there.
It's just there. It's people, as far as I remember, they don't have anything to do with the story whatsoever. They're just people.
Yeah, I know, and this is where, I said this in the last review, this is where this series really got so to the point where it was like, okay, I'm going to get anyone and everyone who's ever done anything wrong to me, I'm going to put them in a trap somewhere. This one that we're talking about, this one sitting in the middle of the frickin', I don't know, where were they? Middle of Chicago somewhere? I have no idea.
It was like a park, or I don't know. It didn't really show.
And they're just sitting in the middle of the city somewhere, a business town city, and all these people with their suits and ties and their business, everything. And here, there's two people attached to these saws, and for what? Nobody knows. It's just this love triangle between these three people. Well, there's three people. There's a third person up on the ceiling. And I have to say...
Yeah, well, you know, just hanging on the ceiling.
And I have to say, this had some of the worst effects out of the entire Saw franchise. It was so silly.
They actually started going more CG in this, more CG blood and stupid stuff. I think it was terrible.
Oh, the practical stuff that they did in here was terrible too. It was awful.
When I came out of Saw 6, I was pumped because I thought what Saw 7 was going to be was Jigsaw's wife against the guy that took over for Jigsaw. I thought they were going to go head to head and going to put themselves into a trap. I thought she was going to make a big elaborate trap for him. He was going to make a big elaborate trap for her, and they're both going to be stuck in a trap designed by each one of them, and both of them were going to try to get out and live. I thought maybe like Jigsaw created a final trap for both of them. Come on, how great would a movie would that have been?
I was about to say, that sounds fantastic, Dave. Why didn't you write that down?
Well, I thought that's what this was going to be. After I watched the end of the last one, I'm like, this is it. You know, they're both going to be in their own traps, and Jigsaw created it for both of them to get. No, this had nothing. It was. You're talking about a weak story. I think this one, being it's the last one too, which is really disappointing for them to end it like they did here. I just think that it was bad. The whole thing was bad.
Well, when they finally do get into the story, it is a continuation of what happened off of 6. So it does continue there. And yeah, I thought the same thing. I thought finally, you know, Jill Tuck and this detective were finally going to go at it. They were going to be stuck in a trap just like you did. I thought the same thing. What does happen and what does take place still involves them, but I didn't think it was going to end that way. But how it does end up, I actually thought was really cool. I actually really thought that was all right. I liked the ending of this film. I liked the way where it ended up.
Yeah, I don't mind the ending of it. It's just the whole hour and a half leading up to the ending of it was terrible.
I agree. Because it's just, yes, it interweaves into the story, and you see the stuff that happened in 4, 5, and 6. You see where all of it leads to, but you didn't know who was the actual mastermind behind all that, because there was actual mastermind behind all of it, and I can't give it away, but I like that. That's where it ends up. That's the ending of the film, and I liked how they ended it that way. It's just, again, it was a movie where they interwove things around traps. They didn't really give a crap about the story so much. They just worried about the traps.
And the story here is there's this guy who pretends to be a victim of Jigsaw, and he's not. He just did it to make all this money. So then the Jigsaw himself took this guy and really put him through a real trap situation. And I think it's a terrible story. I think it's a stupid idea for a story because it really has nothing to do with the Saw, franchise. It had nothing to do with, okay, well, this is a person who is on death's door and who don't appreciate life. This guy was just making money off the Saw franchise, and they stuck him into a game, and it's just a dumb idea for a movie.
Yeah, he saw all these people that claimed that they survived Jigsaw's traps, and so he thought, well, they're making money, or they're getting their minutes of fame, why not me? So, yeah, I can kind of understand that, but does it really have anything to do with the Saw franchise? No. And like I said, again, that's where it became more about the traps than it did about the story.
And here you have Jigsaw's wife, who all the way through these films has been a really strong character. She's been a really strong, independent character who was, I thought, again, was going to take the reins of what her husband was doing and continue with it. But in this, she's just totally different. They just completely changed her character in this movie, and she became like this sniveling little wimpy character who was afraid of the other guy, and it was just terrible what they did to her. I don't understand that at all.
And the other thing I didn't understand, I don't remember which one it was now, even though I've watched them in back to back now, either 4 or 5, I think it was 5, where Jigsaw himself, Tobin Bell, it says to her, I'm going to give you a way out at the end of this. you'll have your way out of this, so that none of this attaches to you. You know, so you're thinking it's going to be all of it's going to be on the other guy that's been carrying on Jigsaw's work, and all of that just goes nowhere. I mean, it's like, okay, that was her way out. The way they show in this film, her way out, really?
She's afraid of the guy, so she goes to the police station, and they lock her in a jail cell, and she stays there through the whole movie just about, and it's horrible. And when he comes to get her, I'm like, okay, here we go. She's gonna fight back. She's gonna do, this really cool stuff, and she doesn't do anything, and it's such a waste of a really great character who, been building up in all these movies, and they just get rid of her for, throw her off to the side for it's just so terrible, so stupid.
I guess Jigsaw had expected this guy to stop what he was doing once he finished going after, the insurance companies. There's pretty much nothing else left for him to do. So maybe that's where this all comes from, with this guy lying about being a Jigsaw survivor, and these other two people just in a trap somewhere in a city somewhere. Maybe that's where that comes from. But they don't really explain that. They don't really say what really... Sort of like, he got this guy started, now he can't stop.
Yeah, I mean, I came out of this movie, it's been a while since I saw it, but I remember coming out of the movie theater after I had seen it, and I'm like, man, this is how they're going to end this 7-year trilogy, this 7-year franchise that I almost went to the theater and seen every one of them, except for the first two, and I was so disappointed when I came out of the theater. I'm just like, ugh. It's like, spending 7 years reading a book and getting to the end of it, and I'm like, really? That's what they're going to do? And I was just really angry. But what a downer to end this on. I mean, 6 was so spectacular, even though you didn't like it, but, usually they're going to go all out. So, what a downer to... I still can't talk. I've been talking so much, can't talk anymore, Vince. So, what a downer... I cannot say downer. Downer. Downer.
You can't say downer?
I can't say a downer. I'm so down, I can't say a downer. Okay, so what a downer it is to end this series like this. It's just terrible. Just terrible. Overall, I would give Saw 7 a 2 out of 5. And that's just because of the okay way they ended it. The very last, I'm talking about the last 20 seconds of the film. That's the only reason I gave it a 2, not a 1.
But I did enjoy it a little bit more than the other one. I didn't enjoy the effects at all. I thought the effects in this one were the weakest.
I thought you said I didn't enjoy the sex. I was like, wait, but there was sex in this movie? That's what it sounded.
Yeah, that would have made it a lot better. I probably would give it a 4 out of 5 with that one.
Wait a minute, you did not enjoy the sex in this film. More sex, less Saw.
You got one choice, boy. Sex or the Saw.
But that couldn't even save this film. It was... No, I would probably have to agree with Dave. It's a little better than that. I give it a 2. Overall, it wasn't that great of a film.
Alright, so we finally made it through all 7 Saw movies. Now, next year, we will do the same thing. We will bring you another franchise, and I kind of have one in mind right now that I want to do. But if you guys or girls want to see us do a franchise, leave it in the messages below. Let us know a good franchise you would like us to review, or leave it on our Facebook page. We do have a Bear on a Trampoline Facebook page if you want to go over and like that as well. So yeah, we really want to hear from you, because we're doing this, for you guys to hear back from what you think of it.
Subscribe to us, leave a comment, tell us what you thought of this, and tell us what franchise you'd like us to review for Horror Month next year. Or in the coming year.
Huh? Sex?
Sex? You want us to review sex?
Sex, yes.
No, effects, Dave. Effects.
Oh, effects, okay.
There'll be an effect if you have sex on YouTube. We won't have a channel anymore.
Yeah, that'll definitely have an effect on it, yeah.
So leave out that. But come back and see us have effects on Horror Month. The effect we have on horror films.
Right, yes, the effects we have.
Subscribe to us. Do it. You won't regret it.
Man, I'm glad that's over.